In a quiet corner of her kingdom, Snow White awoke to a thick fog blanketing the castle grounds. The mist clung to the morning air, swirling with an unnatural hue of silver and blue. As the queen of the land, Snow White was used to strange occurrences, but this mist felt different, an ominous presence that chilled her to the bone. She stood on the balcony, gazing out over the forest that bordered her kingdom. The trees, normally vibrant and green, were shrouded in shadow, their outlines barely visible through the thick fog. The birds were silent, and even the wind seemed to have stilled, as if the entire world was holding its breath. Snow White's intuition, honed over years of dealing with dark magic and treachery, told her that something was terribly wrong. She decided to investigate the forest herself, knowing that she couldn't let a potential threat linger at the doorstep of her people. She donned a simple cloak, the deep red fabric standing out against the ghostly white of the fog. With a determined expression, she set out on her journey, venturing into the woods that seemed to be calling her name in soft whispering voices. After what felt like hours, she emerged into a small clearing. At the center stood a large, ancient tree. Snow White approached cautiously, her hand resting on the hilt of a small dagger she carried for protection. As she neared the tree, she noticed something unusual: a door, hidden among the gnarled roots. Snow White reached out and touched the door. She opened the door and stepped inside. Immediately, she found herself in a world entirely different from the forest above. In the center of the chamber was a large pool of water, its surface smooth and still like glass. Snow White approached the pool, her footsteps echoing in the quiet. As she looked into the water, she saw not her own reflection, but a vision of vast forest, filled with strange, mythical creatures and vibrant, magical flora. Suddenly, the vision changed. She saw her kingdom, covered in darkness, the people suffering, their faces twisted with fear and pain. Snow White's breath caught in her throat. This was no ordinary vision, it was a prophecy. Before she could react, a voice echoed through the chamber. Snow White turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a woman, her hair flowing like liquid silver. "Who are you?" Snow White asked. "I am Elara, the guardian of this forest," the woman replied. "And you have been brought here because your kingdom is in grave danger. An ancient force stirs beneath the roots of the world, and only you can stop it." "What force? And why me?" Snow White asked. "Because you are the light, Snow White, a beacon of hope in a world filled with darkness. But light alone is not enough. You must be willing to face the shadows, to confront the darkness within and without." Before Snow White could ask more, the chamber began to shift and change around her. The walls faded away, replaced by a dense, dark forest. "Prove yourself, Queen of Light," Elara's voice echoed in the distance. "Defeat the darkness, and you will save your people." She turned, and there, standing before her, was a monstrous figure, cloaked in shadows and mist. "Do you think you can stop me?" the creature hissed. Snow White squared her shoulders. "I've faced worse than you, monster. I'm not afraid." The creature lunged, and Snow White dodged to the side, slashing at it with her dagger. The blade cut through the shadow, but the creature only laughed. Snow White realized that physical attacks wouldn't work. She needed another way. She closed her eyes, reaching deep within herself, seeking the light that Elara had spoken of. When she opened her eyes, she raised her hand, and a brilliant beam of light shot forth, striking the creature. The shadows recoiled, hissing and writhing as the light burned them away. The creature screamed, a sound of pure rage and pain, and then it was gone, vanquished by the light. With a new sense of purpose, she turned and made her way back to her castle, ready to face whatever new challenges awaited her and her kingdom.